Welcome back to Leeds Lately. Today's video is going to be my thoughts and opinions on how we did in the transfer window, so obviously the business that we did, and it's just going to be a bit of a look at the overall squad and what I think is the current state at Leeds United. So let's go into the people that we did sign first. Junior Firpo was done very early on. I think that was one that was not top of the list, but became available and became a very attractive option, much like what Rafinha did last season. Because we were looking at the players that I talked about in my previous video. We're looking at Romain Perraud, who eventually went up to Southampton, and Javi Galán, and I think there was a third one, Patrick Van Aanholt, was available on a free. So in the end we got Junior Firpo. I'm happy with him. I've yet to see him put in a complete stellar performance, but all the signs are there that he's that attacking, driving forward fullback that we like to see at Leeds now. So he could be very good. Just going to do a little quick bits on them. Klaassen, obviously second choice keeper, young lad. Nice to see him coming in, and hopefully he can improve and maybe eventually go on and be the number one, because I feel like at some point we might have to sell Meslier if his value becomes too much to turn down, really. And then obviously Dan James that we signed the other day. Now I did show a little bit of apprehension towards this deal, and I said, look, £25 million is a lot of money. Since then I have listened to a couple of the Square Ball podcasts and a couple of other things where people are making the argument that, look, Joe Willock cost Newcastle £25 million, Emi Buendia cost Aston Villa £38 million, and so when you start to look at these figures, does £25 million seem too much? I'd argue it's still at the high end of what we should be paying for him, but I would have liked to have paid about 20 million. But to be honest, that apparently is what the club were bidding at first, and Manchester United then said, no, we want a little bit more, and that's when it got raised to £25 million. So, like I say, it's probably the going rate for someone in his position, because he has played in the Premier League at the top level, and he's also played a couple of Champions League games at the very top level, obviously only against teams like Istanbul, Başakşehir, and other group stage games, but he still has a little bit of that experience of what it's like to play there. So Dan James could be good in the future, and I think he's that little bit of spark that sometimes we need in a game like maybe against Burnley. Late on it was getting a little bit stretched. If you can get him in behind someone, I feel like he could do a bit more than Jack Harrison in terms of getting past a man. Jack Harrison's end product is obviously better, but maybe as a late substitution he'd be good. Let's talk about stuff that didn't happen. Lewis O'Brien, we never did in the end, and Phil Hay was saying on the Phil Hay show that really their valuations didn't meet. They didn't think enough of him to spend the kind of money that Huddersfield were asking for, and they'd like to have paid about £4 or £5 million for him. But that was something that came up towards the end of the window, because we had been looking at other players. Mateus Cunha and Rodrigo de Paul never were completely linked. They were linked a lot. They were never completely sort of explored, and contact wasn't made to the degree where we thought anything was going to actually happen. But they both went to Atletico Madrid in the end. So Toon Koopmeiners was another one that we were linked with, and I only just found out that he went to Atalanta for £14 million. Obviously Bielsa didn't see what he wanted in him, and I think we're at a stage now where we sort of need to just trust Bielsa, because he never goes as far as to say that a player is bad, but when somebody suggests a player to him and says, well, this player went here at this price, he's going to then say, well, okay, he's good for that team and well done to them, but for me, he doesn't fit our system and he doesn't work in that way. And I think that might be partly why we didn't pursue Noah Lang totally, because I don't think his defensive displays and his defensive responsibilities at Club Brugge were really enough to sort of warrant Bielsa looking at him in that way. But obviously players can change, but he obviously didn't see anything in him that was going to work to his advantage. So I think what we've learned from this transfer window is really to just trust Bielsa, trust his judgment. He never says a player's bad and that he doesn't want them because of that. He just thinks he's got his very set criteria about what he wants from a player in his system. So they have to work in that system. The only thing that I would argue against Bielsa is for Rodrigo. So we're going on to the state of the general squad now. Rodrigo, I don't think he works well in that number 10 role. He doesn't. When he comes back, he's not great at tackling or anything. He can pick a pass and he's good at passing, but I think his role is always just going to be that number 9 role. And I think, I can't take credit for this, but Phil Hay said, and I agree, that if we're sat here in a year's time saying the same things about Rodrigo, then you maybe think about maybe selling him on and just write it off as a bad do, because when he first came in, we were all absolutely buzzing, thinking, okay, we've got Spain's number 9, we've got a striker here. Patrick Bamford obviously did very, very well and has got his England call-up, which I'm super happy for him. And Rodrigo never really got a look in at that number 9, so what Bielsa did was play him in that number 10 role, or number 8-10 that we've got in that 4-1-4-1, and I just don't think he's quite there. We've never tried him out on the wing, but we've got so many wingers now that is there any point? Do we need him there? So it's coming to the point where we've got this 27-30 million pound player that's sat on the bench thinking, well, where do I really fit into this team? And at the moment, I don't think he does fit into this team. When he scored those goals against Burnley at the end of last season, everyone was going, oh my God, he's going to be on fire next season. And he hasn't started brightly, really. I know he had a knock and that's why he didn't play in the Everton game, but really I want to see him come on and light up a bit and do a bit more than what he has done so far. Apparently he's happy in Leeds, but I can't see how on a football in front that he would be, given he's not really contributed enough to the team. Having said that, he's obviously capable of that sort of thing, so I really hope that he does do well. Helder Costa's gone on loan to Valencia for €2 million fee for that, and then I think there's an option to buy of around €10 million. That's what's been touted in the papers, sort of thing. So there's no guarantee that that's right, but that's about what's been said. I think if we can send him there for a year and then they pay €10 million for him and keep him, I think we write that off as a good deal, because obviously we've paid a lot for him, but it's over 4 years, and we're only into the second year of that, and we're sort of paying off back against that with this deal if it goes through. So I would really, I like Helder Costa, I've got nothing against him, I just think he's not done enough. He was good, he was a serviceable championship winger, but I don't think he's good enough for the Premier League, and I just don't think he ever really fit into Bielsa's system. Just didn't really have the end product. So yeah, not sad to see him go, but I've got nothing against him. I hope he does well there and gets his move, to be honest. I think Rodrigo had a hand in getting him to move there, and I had a conversation with him about it, because obviously that's where we signed Rodrigo from. I've mentioned Poveda in the other video, but obviously he went on loan to Blackburn, so that's nice for him to get some game time and hopefully do well there. We've released some people like Robbie Gotts and Jordan Stevens. Robbie Gotts has been at the club for 15 years, since he was 6, and it's now released. It's gone to League 2 side Barrow, which is actually near where I'm originally from. So it's nice to see that there's a couple of Leeds lads there, and hopefully they'll do well. I mean, League 2, they should light it up, really, coming from our team, and they've played a couple of games in cups and stuff for the first team, so I hope those two do well there. And obviously we've got countless other players who have been loaned out and players who have been brought in, but we can't go through the whole 23s. So I think at the moment the mood around Leeds is that we're not on form, but we've never had a massive dip in form with Bielsa. It's never lasted more than a few games. So we come back against Liverpool after this international break, and I can't really see us winning it. The big one really is Newcastle away. So hopefully that's the one where we pick up 3 points and we start a bit of a roll then, because at the moment you can't really see where our next 3 points are coming from. So that's my thoughts on the transfer window and the current sort of state of Leeds United, the squad and the players. That's going to be it for this one. It's just sort of my thoughts and what I've been feeling at the moment about Leeds and the transfer window and everything that goes with that. So that's going to be it for this video. I will see you next time on Leeds Lately. Subscribe if you're new, like the video if you like the video, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.